Hi, everyone. This is Jody Wariski. We have a special team building call today for Team Horizon with the founder of Evolution, Mr. David McCovy. Hello and welcome.
Thank you, Jody. Welcome me, I guess, to you.
Yes, welcome. Welcome. I
Thank you
truly
for having me
appreciate
today.
you taking time for this. And the reason why we asked you to have this call is because we have team builders who want to team build and they're getting discouraged. I feel that I'm going to be blunt. I feel that we have some team builders who say, oh, yes, I want to do this, yet they don't put in the effort for it. And I'm not saying all, I'm saying there are some. And I think it's just, I feel like we're in a slump. Our numbers as a whole, as a team, have gone down. At one point, we're at 1,400. Now we're at like 675. Now, granted, that's over time.
For sure.
Um, but just any words of wisdom that you can give.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Jody, is for the family to not feel overwhelmed, right? Because when you understand really what building is, it's only learning how to invite. Like, honestly, I mean, we have some amazing presenters that really are able to articulate what the highlights are in our deal. Jody is not on that presentation lineup, but she's amazing. So you guys, the resources are there. Don't get Again, don't get overwhelmed. Don't let it confuse you. There's an old saying in the industry that confused people do nothing, right? So don't do that. Work on your art of inviting, because that's all you have to do, because you can't twist someone's arm or put them in a headlock to make them join the business, right? All you can do is work on how you invite to those presentations. And I'm telling you, I can always, because I sit on the other side of the desk, so I'm able to look at the numbers. And the days that we have presentations, the numbers are great. When we look at the days that we don't have presentations, which are Saturday and Sunday, the numbers suck, to be honest, right? And so it shows the power of the presentation. And I know that some things have changed with job boards and the like. But what you have to understand is there's always more than one way to skin a cat. I was talking to Emily Jimenez the other day, and she was saying that she uses like three different things. She uses social media, she still uses some job boards, and there's another tool that she was using. So I don't want you guys to be one dimensional, right? Understand that there's more than one way out there. And for me, I don't personally recruit anymore, but when one of the leaders or anyone honestly has what we call a high quality or high value prospect, they get them on a Zoom with me, and in 7 minutes they're in the business. 7 minutes. Because for me, it's not that difficult. I don't have to go through the entire program to get someone interested in the business. I use Evo Plus and I use the comp plan. After that, the game's over, right? Because you just talk to people on a level that they can understand. So for me, if I was prospecting Jody, or I had a post up and Jody said, hey, I'm interested in doing that travel thing that you have, or what's that about? My very first question to Jody is, okay, Jody, how much money coming into your home on a part-time basis can change your current situation? Real simple. Right now, I just listen. And so whatever Jody tells me at that point, I know where to go get the money from, right? Just like you guys do, because you know our deal. So if Jody says, okay, extra $500 a month, would help my home drastically. Okay, cool. I can take Jody right into the program and show her what it is. I can show Jody that with Evo Plus, or I can show Jody that in the comp plan. And for me, either one of those are good, but it's simple. And I think that if you guys are losing people in the process as you're prospecting, what typically is happening is they're becoming overwhelmed. Patrice had her and one of her junior partners, Kelly. They had a gentleman. He was a multimillionaire. He trades gold. That's all he does. All he does is trade gold. We were on the phone, or we were on the Zoom for, it was about 6.5 minutes. He's like, okay, you can stop. You don't have to say anything else, right? Because I was talking to the right person. And so when you're talking to the right person, you don't have to really say anything else. I showed Evo Plus and I showed the comp plan. That was it, guys. I promise you, I did not go through, how many tens of thousands, of people that have come through the program. I didn't go through how many hundreds of vendors that we can use, because you have to understand that when you're talking to people at that level, they're not a travel professional. So when you get to going through and giving all of our credentials and naming off those numbers and letters, they have no idea of what you're talking about. None, none. So you're making them believe that the deal is
I'm
more.
in the program and I still don't understand everything.
Jody, I own the dang program and I don't understand. Right? And so I'm telling you, family, talk to people on a level that they can understand. I assure you, there's not one adult that you'll come across that has not at some point in time in their life gone to Expedia or to Priceline or to anything like that. So why don't you lead with Evo Plus? It's the same process, right? The hardest thing for a person, especially as an adult, and the older they become, the more harder that becomes, is to change a person's behavior. That's the hardest thing to do. So we know that even before we found out about this deal, we had all at some point in time been on Expedia or Priceline and looked for a destination and compared prices. All of us have. So why not give that? Why not reciprocate that for the person that you're talking to? That's it, right? They don't have to understand everything. You want them to understand enough and to be excited enough that they see value in something that no one can come up to them and knock them off of their rock, right? So if I get on a meeting with Jody and Jody tells me, how long we've been in business and how many, what type of accreditation we have, and we've done 2 billion in travel sales since 2016. All of those things are amazing. But you know what my question is? How does that help me right now? How does it help me right now? Oh, that's great. Jody, congratulations. I'm excited for you and your company, but how does that help me? That's why my very first conversation with the person is how much money coming into your home, here's the key word, on a part-time basis can change your current situation. Right? Because most people are already overwhelmed in life. Like the older you get, the more you have going on, right? You got the kids, you got to manage the husband, the wife, the significant other, whatever that may be. You've got a ton of bills. You're trying to figure out this, the next thing. Kids are now about to be in high school. Oh my goodness, graduation costs this, right? You have all of these things, 70,000 thoughts going through your brain every day. So you want simple. You want to understand how it can help you right now. And when you get that prospect on, whether it be a one-on-one with you, you go up top and you talk to Jody, or you invite them to, one of the corporate presentations. I promise you, the easiest thing to deliver, family, is Evo Plus. It is. It is. Because if I get you on the Zoom right now and I show Jody how she can she just came from Africa or wherever. Jody's always all over the world, right? But I can show Jody it doesn't have to be the same property, a comparable star. I call it the comparable star. So if she was at a 4-star, let me show you a 4-star that we have. If we have the same one, fine. If not, I'm gonna show you a 4-star. If you're at a 5-star, I'm gonna show you that. When they are able to see that price savings, it changes the game. Because now when they go back home and they talk to their significant other, their spouse, they talk to their children, they talk to their uncle, they're talking to their cousin, whoever they're talking to about it, they've seen with their own eyes, and they're more than welcome to do their own demo, that there's value there. When we're talking to a person about our accreditations and all of those things, it takes them a while to get there or to even understand that. But if I say, oh, you know what, that thing's not going to work, and you just got off of a Zoom and you saw a $8,000 savings on a trip to Paris, or you saw a $400 difference going to Las Vegas, that's going to work because you have the belief in it, because you saw it yourself. Right. So when you start giving them things about, what we've done as a company or what the possibilities are, a lot of people can't see that far down the line. So please give them what they can understand. You don't have to change their behavior for them to go in and put a destination and a date into Evo Plus. It simplifies the process. Now,
Okay.
once that person has done that, we can show them how to get to the money, whether you do your invoicing or whatever, like you show them your margins. And honestly, when I do the presentation, Jody, I don't walk through that process. I said, what I train my team and my people on are the 50-50 rule. If you can save someone 1,000, save them 500 and you make 500. Very simple. They're like, oh, okay. So even before I go into how to set up your Stripe and do all those other things that may be confusing, I show them how easy it is on the upfront and how they can make money. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of good human beings out there, but everybody really still wants to know, how does it benefit them? And so when you can show that, now you have them locked in. And so if you want to go down the road, you start talking about, team building, what are they going to think? Oh, heck, I can show people this all day long. Because always understand, family, that as you guys are prospecting, you're training right out of the gate. I don't care if it's from the first time that you say hello to a new person, you're already training. You know why? Because they're going to do what was done to them and say what was said to them. That's how it works. That's why, no matter what the industry is, good doctors raise other good doctors because they treat them the right way and they show them the right things. And so that's what you have to understand as soon as you're talking to someone. So if you're simplifying the process and you're talking to someone about Evo Plus, and then you can go into the comp plan on, how they refer and can, make money on the team building side, they're going to do the same things. I mean, look at a lot of you guys that are in Horizon right now. What have you done to the partners that you brought into Horizon? The same thing that was done to you. You've had the similar conversations that Jody had with you, you've had with them, because we're always training, especially when we're prospecting. If you're doing one-on-ones and you say, hey, I was at the mall and I'm talking to this lady, say, hey, you know what? Let's go to Starbucks, coffee on me, and I'll share my deal with you. Okay. And she says yes, and she signs up. Guess what she's gonna do when she talks to someone? Go to
Yep.
Starbucks and share the deal. Same thing, because that's how she was taught. Right. So understand that you're always in training mode and simplify the process, family. We are in a world of instant gratification. And so when you can show people that, that's what helps them. And you guys are amazing travel bookers. I mean, I know that already. And that process will happen for them, but we have to have them in the game long enough for that transformation to happen. In
Mhm.
my opinion, Evo Plus keeps them in the game right out of the gate, because even if they don't sell anything right now, they see the value in it right now. I mean, I have to have, less than a half a brain for you to show me, and you let me pick the destination. This is what I do. So if I'm doing a meeting right now, says with Jody, it's okay, Jody, hey, where would you like to go? Because I know Evo Plus can pull it up anywhere. So I let Jody do the talking. She tells me where she wants to go. Okay, Jody, what dates would be cool for you? If you don't have anything planned up right now, let's make up some dates. Let's go January 24th through the 30th. Right. So again, these are all things that she's able to see. It's not, I didn't manipulate the system. I didn't have these things preloaded to where she could think that this is a scam or a timeshare presentation where I know where the value is. I didn't do any of those things. I let Jody do all the talking. So if it's a scam, Jody scammed herself. I didn't scam her. She told me the date. She told me where she wanted to go. I put it in. The value's right there. I don't need to preload it because I know how strong the platform is. And so I think if you guys master the art of that, and whatever you choose to do or use as your language for inviting, you're good. Jody, I think I saw someone say that they don't use the presentations.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
recommend.
go.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I have a couple questions, but yeah,
Okay.
so we don't use the corporate. The reason why we didn't is number one, we decided not to do the steps for success. We used to do something similar, and
Mhm,
Sam and I would have more people frustrated and want to leave because of it than want to
mhm.
stay.
Okay.
We also didn't do it because I like smaller calls, but I'm
Okay.
thinking like, because the corporate calls can be so large that it can, I mean, we've always told the team it's up to you what you want to do if you want to send them there.
Hmm.
But we have 5 amazing presenters and we do them ourselves. And we usually have, I think our highest, we've been up to 50. Our low, we've been like about 3 to 5, but we average about 10 to 15 a call, I would say.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we don't use the corporate. I think I know you're going to be on Jen's call tomorrow to give some pointers.
Hmm. For
So
sure.
we'll get some pointers with that as well. I think my thing is if I were on a call personally with 300 people, I'd be like, I thought it was a scam to begin with
Hmm. Hmm.
anyway.
Hmm.
And so I feel that the smaller calls are more intimate and people don't feel it's so scammy that way. But I do have a
Okay.
question here from Diane real quick, and then we can go back to that. How,
Okay. Let me
oh,
give
go
you a
ahead.
different perspective. Let me give you a different perspective real quick on that, Jody.
Yep.
There is I don't know if you guys have been to Vegas or been to some of the smaller spots in Vegas. There's an amazing restaurant in a small place over here. It's called the casino and hotel is Palace Station, but the place in there is called Oyster Bar. I do not care what time of day you walk into Oyster Bar. Remember, this is Las Vegas. You can go to Oyster Bar at 2 o'clock in the morning and the line is wrapped. Do you know how many seats they have at that place? 12. 12. Right. So no matter when you go there, it's packed and there's a line. That's attractive to people. They think that they're missing something. There's a lot of people involved in that. So just a different perspective. And it's all mindset, right? Because people can see the exact same thing and think something differently. I prefer the larger calls because it looks like it's a big deal. And when it looks like it's a big deal, oftentimes people are more apt to say, okay, well, what's going on here, or want to be involved. And that's just a perspective, because some
Right.
people can be just like you, where they prefer smaller and more intimate. And I just say, because of I know me personally, how I'm wired. I think I shared this on the founders call the other day, and also on the Golden Above for you guys that may have been on there. When I'm looking at comparing things, and there's 3 options or 2 options or 4 options, whatever the number is, I by default choose the one that is the most expensive by default,
Mhm.
because to me there's a perceived value in the price, right? And so if I'm looking at it can be, I don't know, call it a dang air filter, right? And there's a 69, a 99, and a 129. By default, I just grab the 129. It could be the same product, it can also be inferior. But for me, my perceived value is on something that costs more. And so that may or may not be the fact, or people are wired differently, obviously, but just showing you that there's different perspectives on, how
Right.
people look at it. And I think honestly, that's one of the things that we talked about with the Evo bundle at $299. I'm watching the numbers in the back office. It's selling very well. And I think that a lot of that, now we know there's a ton of value. You're trading $299 for $13.50. But I think that people look at things that cost more and say, okay, this might be something. A lot of times people see our price point, oh, it can't have all of that, or it can't be all of that. It's less than $100. That's not real, right? So depending on how the person's wired.
Okay, that makes sense. Diane asked, how are other teams successful? You see Emily growing, you see Chris Trujillo, you see all of that. So in person, word of mouth, coffee, how do they grow? But I think that if I'm correct, a lot of them do some job boards.
Some of them still do different job boards. Chris Trujillo doesn't do any. They've never done them. But they understand getting a lot of people in one place, whether it be on that Zoom or in person or whatever. And that's how I know that that attracts a lot of other people. But you can, when we read off that list, M does a presentation and she sends me the list every day of people that say, okay, I'm looking at ready, or I'm ready, I'm looking to get started, and all of those type of things. And they pair them with the people who've come there. So I do know that there is a ton of success that happens from the corporate calls.
Yeah, no, I
I,
see
I
it in the
I'm,
platinum
I'm a
chat too.
for sure.
Because they post that. I think for us too, it's not necessarily the calls, but getting the people to the calls. And I really do think that you have to have the grit. Like I know when I was going for gold, I stopped at nothing. I just went for
Mhm.
it. I did Craigslist ads at the time. I just literally day and night was working on it.
For sure.
For the people who want to really build, I'm not talking about the people on the call who, want to maybe get 3 people on and they're happy with that. But
Hmm.
for people who really want to build, how do they keep that going, that drive in them when they feel so discouraged? LinkedIn won't take them, or Facebook isn't posting their things, or things of that nature, to actually get the people to the calls.
That's a very good point. And you said something. You said grit, and you said that you would stop at nothing. And so for me, that's just a made up mind, right? And so when you have a made up mind, there's nothing that won't allow you to get to where you need to go. And I think I've done this live at a convention or two, or a boot camp, and I talked to the moms in the room. I said, okay, if we were all in here, or you were in here with your child, and we said, okay, it's break time, the kids stayed in and played while the adults went out, and grabbed a bite to eat, and we came back to the room. And when we got back to that meeting room, if it was locked and it was boarded up and they weren't letting us in, your child's in that room. So there's no way on the planet that you're not getting in there to get that child. And I do not care if the last resort was to go back your car up into that building or into that door because that place is on fire. Your child is coming out of there today. And I think when we look at our business or build our business with the same vigor that we do those type of things, it has to happen. For me, Joe, some of my deal when I first got started in network marketing, like I was down to my last $30,000 and had 20,000 worth of bills for the month and was not going to make it through right, month number two. And I had called this industry a scam. I called it a pyramid because I wasn't knowledgeable. I just heard what people said. Like a lot of us, on this line, we've said those things or had people say it to us, and it's simply because we or they are ignorant and don't really understand the industry. And so for me, I had to do something because I was in a place in my life where I didn't have anything else. My restaurant, a business partner in there stole 60 grand, closed the doors. He was over there, on your side of the world, Joey, in Roanoke, Virginia. He's on the East Coast. My business partner in the clothing store that I had in Durango had got into some legal trouble, so we had to shut the store down with that. So it was like everything was crumbling around me. And I was like, what am I going to do? And so I reached back out to my mom because she had introduced me to network marketing before. And I told her, Mom, look, please stop talking to me about the pyramid thing. I had to call her back and say, hey, Mom, what's going on with the pyramid thing?
By the
Right.
way, if anybody has not met your mom, she is amazing.
Oh, that's my absolute rock. And always my lifelong best friend. You know my story. My dad and my little sister were killed by a drunk driver when I was 7. So me and my mom are, truly like that. And I would walk off of the side of this earth for her today. And so she's always provided the strength, for things that I needed to do. But even in that moment, right, somebody I love like that, I told her stop talking to me about the pyramid thing because I didn't understand. And so what I say now is that I don't need, and I think some of you guys are on the line the same way, Jody. I know you are. A lot of us don't need things outside of us to motivate us. I've never been that person. So it's sometimes a struggle for me when I'm trying to speak to someone who needs a certain level of motivation. I have it in the things that I see or do every day, or the things that I want. I don't know how to not go full bore after whatever it is that I want. I don't. And so to me, that's my struggle. That's my disconnect, because when I'm speaking to a person that is struggling, and all I can say is that, listen, we've all struggled. Like, we've all struggled, but I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to not go get what I want, because I believe that everything in life that I want, I should be able to acquire. I believe that I already have the skill set. The man above has given it to me. So I don't know how to not do certain things. So I don't need anyone necessarily to inspire me or to motivate me. I remember there was a time where I listened to Eric Thomas in the morning when I got up, because if you listen to ET, he makes you kind of want to run through a wall. So I started my journey with him, early on in my building years, but it was just one of those things that I knew what I wanted in life. So there was nothing that was going to stop me. So I have, Jody, you probably heard this. I have, with some of the Founders Council members, I've trained them on the mantra of, why not you?
Mhm.
Like, why not you? When you drive past, a good looking couple, and they're in a nice car, or, the kids are happy, they're in
Or if
private school.
somebody's in a Rolls Royce, what's our,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. As we speak, and I'm right outside of my asset attorney's house. Like, I couldn't have had this conversation 10 years ago. And so funny, Jody. That's why I was late. I had you guys mixed up. I had you at 1 and had him at 11. So I walked in and he was like, "No, David, you're at 1." I was like, "Oh, Jody's at 11." I had to run back out to the car. So, and I talk about these things, and I'm not afraid to share my story about where I come from. Like, I remember having an older Chrysler that I used to have to ride around with the gallon of water in it, because every hour or so it would overheat. Like, literally, I would have to pull over to the side of the road, pop the hood, and put the water in there, let it sit for a minute, and then continue my journey for that day. Now, no disrespect, this is almost a $600,000 vehicle, but that comes from, there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting what I want. Right now, we're going to do it ethically and all those things, but I'm saying, like, I want everyone on this line to have that drive. And when you do that, and then it becomes bigger than you, it becomes about, what you want to leave behind for your kids, or what you want to, what you want to donate to charity, whatever it is that your passion is. Allow this business to finance those things. I was on with Amy the other day, and she was talking about her daughter. Her daughter does makeup in Hollywood, and Amy said, "Okay, well, it's time for you to get some residual income now. You need to start building, this business. I'll help you." And Amy was saying, "Well, Founder's just tough for me because I don't think travel is her passion." I said, "Amy, travel's not my dang passion.
Hmm.
I own this company, and I guarantee you, all of you guys, I would say, well, not all of it, but a high percentage of you guys on this line travel more than I do, because
Because
it's just,
you don't like to travel, what, on a plane more than 6 hours?
yeah, I have a limit. I have a limit. I can't be, I'm maxed out at like 5.5. I don't like to sit still that long. And so for me, the what I enjoy that this business offers us is the freedom to be able to do it. Right. So a lot of times, just knowing that you can do it quenches the thirst for me of actually going to do it. I could jump on a plane right now and go to anywhere in the world. Don't need the luggage. Right. And so it's, for me, I just knowing that I could, I think that benefits me. But it's just, my passion is being able to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, and not have to ask permission to do it. That's my passion. That's what burns inside of me higher than anything else.
Well, and I think you know how our team works. We never push anybody to team build, but if they want
Hmm.
to team build, we are here for them. And I
Yes.
think what's frustrating to me, and what I'm constantly asking myself how I can do better, is those people who do, they're going to get off this call today and be like, oh yeah, I got the fire. I want to team build. And 2 weeks later, they're not doing anything. So
Hmm.
it's like,
Hmm.
how do you keep that? How do I help, or other, other agents help their agents? How do we help them keep that momentum going? Or is it just ingrained in them, or it's not ingrained in them?
I think a lot of it is ingrained, 100% for sure. Because honestly, I know people, we used to say that about conventions. People would get fired up at conventions, take notes, go home, put it in the drawer, never look at it again, because life happens, right? But for me, what would always keep me going is that exact same thing. Life happens. So I'm going to get that auto draft, right? That from the bill that came off of my credit card or from the bank account. I'm going to get that letter in the mail that reminds me, okay, there's a bill due. So I'm going to have all of those things to me that are reminders of what I should be doing. It's just that everyone is wired differently. So I just challenge everyone to cheat the process, right? Make it a little bit more simple. Start focusing on Evo Plus. honestly. Because even if you guys don't like it, understand that when you're prospecting, you're not talking to you. You're not. You're not. You're talking to the average person. You know, this lady might, right over here's a restaurant right here. This lady might be a server at the restaurant. No disrespect for that, right? She might do amazingly well in tips, but she's not a travel professional. So don't overburden her with a bunch of that. Talk to her on a level that she can understand. When they say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" "Hey, I'm a travel agent." She's like, "Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know they still had those." "Yeah, we have some amazing tools. One of them is Evo Plus. You got a second? Let me show you something." Easy conversation. Easy conversation. You know, or when's the last time you traveled? "Oh, you know what? I've worked so much, I can't afford to." "Okay, let me show you a tool where maybe you can, because some of our stuff is like 50, 60, 70% off of, what you see out there in the market." Right? These are easy conversations. You don't necessarily have to be in sales mode to have these conversations. You're just informing people on what's out there. And I just wish that, a lot of us would get as comfortable with talking about this business as we are about things that don't pay us anything. We talk about Netflix shows, we talk about the new shoes, we talk about the new movie, we talk about all of those things that don't pay us a dime. And so when you start to see how easy it is, you'd be like, wow. And Jody, prime example, you would text me every couple days during the promotion, like, "I'm making the list. I'm going to be number one day." I didn't have to come to you and tell you that. You're already wired that way to be the best. Right? So I didn't have to come say, "Okay, Jody, up, you're not on the list." You told me I'm getting on the list.
I
And
know,
so
and it was down to the wire, but I made it.
but you know why you made it? Because you had a made up mind that you were going
Yeah.
to make it. That's
Mhm.
really the thing. And so, for Team Horizon, you guys are in a great position because you can leverage not just the company success, but you get to leverage your mentor on this line is the number one travel booker in the history of the deal. Duh.
And
Right?
you
I,
know,
I I would use that over and over again. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
no, I'm sorry. When I have conversations with people, like my prospects, before they join and as they're deciding to join, I will let them know. Now, granted, it's not Evo Plus, but I let them know, like, I was just in Japan. I spent $675 for 4 nights in a hotel that was going for over 2,200 through our Marriott. Fantastic. I
Mm-hmm.
let them know that, I'm making 4 times what I made 5 years ago. But I do let them know I work hard for it. And what I sort of tell my prospects is, do you have $270? And I say that will give you 3 months in this business. That will give you enough
Mm-hmm.
time to know if this is right for you or not. But I feel by
Mm-hmm.
telling my story that it happened during COVID, that, why I like to team build, all of that, I get more people when I have that conversation do join.
For
Um,
sure.
but now Jen just asked, how do you build your leaders?
The funny thing about leadership is you don't have to look for them, they'll find you. You don't have to look for them, they'll find you. You'll know who they are. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like, you'll see that you know how that person shows up to the meeting. You know the type of question that person asks. You know that person starts asking to serve as opposed to take from. Right? All of these things will happen when that person, when you've come across that person. And so until you do that, all we're doing is you guys are talent scouts. You're sorting, right? You're just going through the numbers as fast as possible till you can get what you're looking for. And that's all it is. That's all that it is. And that's why, again, I keep saying, I know you guys are going to think it's wired in my brain, but it is. But that's why I push Evo Plus so much, because I understand that it opens up the door to other conversations because it's so simple. I don't have to change a person's buying habits or any type of habits. I don't have to do that. Everyone has done that before. What are people afraid of? Things that they haven't done before. They are. And so when you start talking to people about owning a business, most people are not entrepreneurs at heart. So now you already have to work that, muscle. But giving them something that's very simple that they can see the immediate value on is key. Like Jody said, she shares her story. Sharing your story is amazing because you're not a salesperson. You're a person. You're a person. You become relatable. The person sees, okay, well, this is a real person. I used to always say that the most important meeting that we do is the meeting after the meeting. And that's when I was talking about, like, when we used to do physical meetings and we would be, in the hotel rooms or wherever we would be. Because after that, when we all go to dinner or we hang out, people get to see that you're a real person. Like, yeah, she's the number one travel booker in the company and has got a ton of commissions and has a huge team, but she's kind of cool. Right? Because that's when they get to see you, like, in real form. I mean, anyone can get polished and go knock the presentation out, but when they get to see that you're a real person, it changes. And so that's why, Jody, it's not uncommon that exactly what you said happens when you share your story with people. They join. It's an old analogy or old saying. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. If you check any of those boxes, you're good to go. If you check all three, they're going to join your business and they will probably never leave you.
And I think you and I are on the same page with this. We don't always agree on everything, but I think we're on the same page that we don't beg people to join, because if you're
No,
going
you
to beg
don't.
them to join, you're going to have to hold their hand throughout.
Listen, I used to say that, and I learned that early on in my first year in network marketing. I used to say, if you twist someone's arm to join your business, you're gonna have to put them in a headlock to actually work it.
Yep.
Right? So don't be so hungry or thirsty or desperate for that one person that you put yourself through that. Because a lot of times it's not you, it's the where the person is in life. Remember, I didn't join immediately. I didn't join network marketing immediately. And the person that I trusted the most exposed it to me. My mom told her no for a year. Told her no for a year. Things had to happen in my life in order for me to be more open to an opportunity. And again, that's why I lead with that tool, because you don't have to do much to go look at it. You really don't.
Yeah.
You really
And the
don't. And,
reason I started team building was, and as some of you know this, 30 days after I started here, I'm like, if I thought this was a scam, but it's not, I think I'm a trustworthy person, and I get to work from home. I get to choose my hours. I was working another job at the time. I already booked travel. I booked my first booking 11 days after I started. All of these things, other people are looking for this too. So that's why I started. It wasn't about the money. It was about, let me share this opportunity.
mm-hmm,
And since I have shared the opportunity, I have some of my best friends that I have met. Like, none of these people probably would have met each other had
that's
I
right.
got started.
That's
Um,
right.
Ashley just asked, how many times do you feel is a proper follow-up after a call?
I believe that after two, you should know where you are. And
Mhm.
then at that point, it becomes a drip campaign. Because remember what I just said, actually, that a lot of it's not you, it's what a person's going through in their life. Right. So what would have happened if I would have just disappeared, or my mom disappeared, or she quit the business that she was trying to get me in? It was a company called Five Links at the time. What happens if she didn't continue to follow up, or she just quit that business? None of us would be here. None of us,
Mhm.
because evolution wouldn't be here. I would have never started network marketing, right? I would have never gone to a travel company. I would have never told Ron he's going to do this. None of those things would have happened, right? So I always say that if you're happy with where you are right now, everything that happened to you had to happen in order for you to get there. And that's how I feel about this. And so, I hate to see, and again, we never force people to join, we never force people to build. But if you have something that you see that is attractive here at Evolution, I don't know how we don't go offer that to someone else. I mean,
And
that's
also,
just
you
me.
get 3 people and it's mitigated. You get 6 people and it's paid for. So I
For
have
sure.
a free business.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But and I just challenge everyone. If you, I mean, if you were able to do a 5 or 10 minute demo of Evo Plus for every person that you came across, what do you think would be your number in your organization? That
Um,
number
I,
would be huge.
I have a question for Ashley, because
Huh?
Ashley she watched Sarah's presentation. Ashley, was
Hmm.
it Evo Plus that you did live? And I did put that people can unmute, but I don't know why it's not taking that. Oh, maybe I unchecked it.
You did uncheck it. It's okay. You're a Zoom rookie. We love you anyway. And just to show my dedication, as he knows, I am branded to Team Horizon for life.
Yes, this
Absolutely.
is it. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm the
We got
crazy
4 branded.
tattooer.
For those
I'm
who
one of
don't
the
know,
3 crazy tattoo girls. I think
yes,
it was 3 of us. No,
No, it's
4 of
all good.
us.
there are
I've
4
always
of
said
you.
that this business takes people from strangers to family. Like it's so dope, and it happens in every organization. I love it.
So it was not Evo Plus Live, it was Disney, which I started doing now on our presentations, which I really like. Um, but there is like a pre-made in the corporate slides, a pre-made graphic for Las Vegas, for Evo Plus. But then I talk about my experience with Evo Plus going to Las Vegas at staying at the Virgin Hotel, how I saved $600 on a mom weekend to go on a Friday to Saturday, which I paid $300 on a Friday to Saturday at Virgin Hotel while Bret Michaels was playing at that hotel, which normally
Wow.
a lot of those hotels will, it was over $920 and I got it for 309. So to me, like when there's a big name artist in the house they're going to rack up those prices. And I
Of
went and I
course.
got this gigando room, and I talk about it. Like, I stayed in the Ruby Chamber Suites. My room had a doorbell. I never had a room with a doorbell. I had a bathtub I could practically either drown myself or swim in. One of them. Like, that, I loved it. Like, and it was, people know my story. I don't get away from my daughter often. So when I went out to regionals, I made it a whole weekend for me. And and I connected with other leaders. I met up with Amy Cabrera and things like that. So I talk about my experience even using Evo Plus, even the 2 times that I've went out to Vegas, um, using that. And that's huge, especially for me as a
Absolutely.
single parent. So, but yeah.
Perfect. Any
And see, and actually that's a great story, and people that's going to resonate with people. That's going to resonate with um especially single moms, right? That's why Val's done so good with her group, because she openly shares that story. Like, listen, I'm a single mom, like a real single mom. Like, I have to figure it out. My son's father is not around here, so like I have to figure it out. And I think you're gonna encounter people that are gonna, have a similar story, and it just makes sense for them. And at the end of the day, like, who doesn't want to save money? And so when I talk to organizations or to individuals, and if they're kind of stagnant, or they're in a rut, I tell them, I know why you're in a rut. I promise you, you could build a team of 300 by yourself if you just shared Evo Plus with everybody. Like, you really could. You really, really could. And it's just a matter of if that's what you want. But because that platform is so simple and easy to use, and again, this sounds like an Evo Plus commercial, but you don't have to change anybody's habits. Like, that's it. And so what they do, it's like all of us. Like, once we have something easy, we learn that, and then we have a thirst for more knowledge, and we want to learn more. And so now, when that person's ready to learn more and do, some of the type of bookings that Jody does, or some of our other leaders, I mean, it works like it works. So I think that's always my first level of exposure. And I think that I actually said she had a chance to meet Amy. I also think that, cross promoting, or talking to other leaders who are doing different things, I think that helps, right? A lot of times we want to stay in our own little box with, our own people, and that's cool because that's where our core is. But I think we can learn things from other people too, right? If you look at all industries, when they have we're travel agents, right? So when they have travel agent conventions, you go there, it's not just Evolution there, it's not just Archer there, right? It's everyone there, because everyone is coming to gain knowledge. So, never be afraid to learn, from other people or someone else. There's a different perspective they can give you. Because a lot of times, as Jody knows, she said it when I came on, basically, it's not always the message, just the messenger, right? You have somebody that'll say exact same thing that Jody says, but it resonates or it hits different for you, so just be open to other things as well.
Okay. And Coach Lynn said, I do this more part-time, and my biggest benefit has been my tax write-offs. Is that a good talking point to begin with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000,000%. Because see, now what do we just say? You're talking to people on a level that they can understand. Trust me, I feel the tax man. That's why I'm here with David today. I have to buy, and this is gonna sound kind of funky, but we just submitted the offer for a mobile home park in Texas, because I need the bonus depreciation. Like, I need it today. Right. So I'm going to get 60% of that. So it costs whatever it costs. I get 60% of that off my taxes today. And so for people that are actively looking to, fit that category, right, with some tax savings, it's huge. And we had at one time, in another company that I was with, it was a stay-at-home mom. Her husband did, pretty well financially. He made, I think, like $175, and this was maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So that was even heavier then. But she was a stay-at-home mom, so that was her job. She took care of the house. But because he did so well financially, that they would owe money every year. So what she figured out was how great of a benefit this was to get some of that money back, right? So now, you hit the magic number of 600, then you get your 1099, and now the IRS says that your business is now a business, no longer a hobby. And so now you get those deductions. They went from owing to where they were getting a little money back. So again, Coach, yes, what you're talking about is real. Talk to people on a level that they can understand and what's important to them. So that is another thing that we know, that as a home-based business owner, it opens up a ton of deductions for you. So 1,000,000% for sure, that's a good talking point.
Perfect. And I don't think your appointment's still for what, another hour? Do you have?
No, I'm good. Go. Yeah, yeah. And I'm listen. I'm still sitting in the parking lot. Like, I never left. So I'm right here.
When posting on social media, are there keywords that will help more people reach out to you or find interest in learning more?
I think a lot of it, again, is where you're posting it. I think it's what your audience is. I don't know if you guys saw the post I did when I think Sarah kind of followed up in the Evo in the family page. about what I recommend for posting every day with those
So plus.
with the Evo Plus deals. It's going to it's going to generate something for you, whether it be business partners or business clients. I promise, if you do that, and you can choose your destination, you can redo a different one every day. But when you show that over and over and over again, obviously change, your language a little bit so it doesn't look like you're spammy, and might even want to change the background or something. It just doesn't matter. As you change the destinations, it's going to catch on. Like, people are looking for deals all the time. All the time. It's holiday season. People are looking for deals all the time. I think the language that I gave as an example was, want to get out of the cold and into, paradise, or whatever it is that we did. But yes, I promise you, if you do that, your business changes. And think about it this way. Even if you don't, which you should, but even if you don't grow your team size, there's no way that when you post that consistently, you don't make a few $100 or a few $1,000 on your bookings. It's just impossible. It's impossible. When you consistently do what we call IPAs, income producing activities, it's impossible for you not to earn something. It's impossible.
So I'm still back to, for me, this is my question. Everyone's fired up. Everyone's really excited. They want to team build. They want to do this. They're going to show Evo Plus 2 weeks from now. People aren't being invited to the calls. People lose their oomph. What can I do? What can the golds on our team, what can we do to help our team?
Encourage the massive action, because that's what has to happen, right? You have to immerse yourself into action. And again, when you get the action and the consistency, good things are going to happen. So I don't know whether you guys run challenges. I don't know whether you guys run accountability groups. I don't know whether you guys do whatever it is that you need to do to keep the activities happening. Because what happens is, as soon as a person has success, they never not want that success again. And so that becomes contagious. It's just a matter of getting that first thing to happen. Allow them to do their first Evo Plus booking. Allow them to, bring in their first business partner if they're absolute newbies. If they're not, let's do what we need to do to get to the next rank.
So we have done that. Sam and I have done the building. We've done for new business partners, bring on an agent by the end of the month, or like different things. We just did one, I forget. I forget what we're giving Andy $100, but I forget why. But we did different things, but we found that it's not really motivating anyone on our team.
And if it's not, I think that they are afraid of the process, and maybe that they're overwhelmed. So again, maybe let's try to simplify it. Maybe let's make a challenge of, I don't know, however many Evo Plus posts you want to do, or however many. Let's do enough posts to where we get 2 bookings.
Well, Jen just said, and I think by her saying this, she's in charge of it. 30-day Evo Plus challenge to everyone. So Jen is in charge.
Because I'm telling you, if they really and make them, not make them because they're adults, you can't make them do anything. Let's do an Evo Plus party. Let's do a Zoom, right? And everyone on the Zoom has to share screen, do screen share, and go and find one booking. Right? It doesn't have to be a booking that's sold, but allow them to go through the process in front of everyone else. Because I guarantee you have people on this line that have never used Evo Plus. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Allow them to see how simple it is. Let's do a Zoom. Let's get on the Zoom. Okay. It's Jen's turn. It's Ashley's turn. It's Michaela's turn. It's Michael's turn. It's whoever's turn it is. Just go all through. Boom, 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 boom. One at a time. Allow them to see how easy it is. Right. I think that, again, because when people stop doing things, they're afraid, or they're overwhelmed, or they don't like to hear no, or whatever. Allow them to find the confidence in the deal, because once you get confidence, because you see how something is powerful, or you've earned money from it. There's no one on this line that can tell Jody booking travel doesn't work. Her bank account begs to differ. Right. So she doesn't need, no one can take her off of her box or off of her rock. And so I think that if we start to do that with some of the new partners, and we allow them to see that and get that level of simplicity, I think that starts some momentum, because it's not that difficult, guys. It's really not. It's really not.
Ashley just said has to admit she's afraid of success. Cassidy said, I'm afraid I'll be a bad leader. Tina says, I think we all are. And Tina said, success is scary, but she's pushing past it. First of all, as far as
that's honestly, I like that, because we can build on top of that 1,000,000%.
I mean, we're all here to help you, Cassidy. As far as being afraid of success, I see, my mind's not wired like that. I just want to, I don't need to be successful for anyone else. but I have a very strong work ethic. So
Yes,
that's where I am. I don't care about other people knowing. It's just I have to be successful for me.
for
So
sure. And because again, and the thing about it too, Jody, is we'll tap on this for a second. I think that success is different for everyone, right? Because everyone has a different definition of it. I mean, honestly, because some people would view success as, okay, well, if I could, pay my house note or my mortgage, or I could pay my car note with this business, that's success to me. Okay, so for me, success to me is being able to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, without having to ask for permission. That's my
mhm.
definition of success. Now that's vast, but it checks all of the boxes. It's all of the boxes, right? Because just like as you get your why, that changes. So if Jody's why was to be able to retire from corporate America, okay, she did that. Okay, so what happens next? And I think that's the problem for a lot of us is, we have a smaller version of what that thing success or what that why looks like. To me, it should be broader, because that fire should always burn. I one of the things that I say that I'm successful is because no matter who the person is in my life, whatever type of help they need, I have a chance to provide, whether it's relationship help, because there's a certain amount of knowledge there, whether it's financial help, because we do well financially, whether it's advice or mentorship on business, right? So to me, that's success, being able to help people that I love, no matter what their ask is. Obviously now we're not the man up top, so we can't do everything, but to me, that's successful. I can help people. If Jody has a problem today and she's good, financially, but if Jody has a problem today, say, listen, you know what, we've got this thing, and I need a procedure, and I don't have it. Jody, where do I need to send it? It happens like that, right? So to me, that's success. When you can help the people that you care about, that's success. So I believe that I have that, but that's going to be different for everyone else on this line.
Mhm. And the one thing I want to go back. I want Jen to say what she wrote about Cassidy in a second. But the other thing too, I want to point out, I came to you because I need help. I need help with
100%.
our team. If
Yep.
somebody on this call needs help, reach out to your mentor, reach out to your gold, your platinum, whoever, reach out
Agreed.
for help. If you are afraid of, success, let's talk. I might not have the answers, but sometimes it's good to just vent to somebody and talk it through. So,
Absolutely, for sure. Because again, my first response to that is, okay, so what about success are you afraid of? And we can do this live. We can do it right now. Jody, so whoever said that, I'm asking
Ashley,
that question. Ashley. Okay, Ashley. So what about success are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of that?
My thing is the money, because I've never grown up with having that money and being a single mom like that. Just and plus, okay, so a little about me. I have a
Hmm.
daughter who, and this should really be my fire. I have a daughter who is going to financially be um dependent on me for the rest of her life. Her dad, once she hit 18 and no longer courts had to be involved, he said sayonara.
Hmm.
So I think I know for the future I have to set up something financially because literally and now I'm gonna cry because I'm all she has. Like, people ask me all the time
but
about a
she
will.
has been too, just so you know, she has been.
She has been, but
Yeah,
no,
we're
like,
saying that because Ben on our
but
team,
reality,
she
like,
has a crush on
yeah,
him.
but reality, like, people ask, like, if something were to happen to you, what's next? And I'm at that point. I have nobody, and I don't know what to do, and that scares me.
See, Ash, and don't, you're gonna get me emotional, but I need to speak over that for a second, because that is the reason why you should be afraid to fail and not to have success, right?
Mhm.
Because you're it. You're it. You're the free safety at the back of the football field, and this guy's running for a touchdown. If you don't make the tackle, you guys lose. You have to be that person. You have to be that person. So that's your fire right there. That's your fire. Your fire is, I'm going to, and it doesn't even have to be this. So like, no, I like to talk about life stuff, not just evolution stuff. That's your fire. I'm going to be hell bent on being a provider. So if something happens to me today, I know she's good. When they say rest in peace, you only rest in peace when you know that the things that are taken care of that you were supposed to take care of. If not, you're in that thing turning around. And so for me, that's what I want your fire to be. You know you're the only one. So no is not an option. I don't care if you talk to 27 people today and they all said no, you can't wait to get to number 28 because it has to happen. And it has to happen by you. So that's the charge that I want you to take. And I think that that's what, a lot of us, it's a thing. It's the same. We say the same reason you should is the same reason that you shouldn't. Right. So that's why you should be doing this business, like or any other thing. It doesn't have to necessarily be this. I don't care if you go drive Uber 40 hours a day. Like, it doesn't matter. Something has to happen because the change has to come from you. There's no one else. You're the last line of defense. So for me, that is what would make my stress level high. Every day I'd be like, okay, I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to set these targets. I have to set these targets. I have to hit them, because if something happens to me, then what? So I don't want to get you emotional, but I had to stop you because I was about to be, because I feel that vibe. When you guys have heard me say on the founders call, when I see elderly people, no disrespect to anyone on this line who may do that or has family members that do that. When I see elderly people sitting out in basically the wheelchair at Walmart and they're the ones that check your receipts on the way out the door, that disturbs my peace, even though that's not my family member, because I know that someone failed. There's no way, unless you had a tragedy happen and everyone that loved you or that you were family with were taken out of the planet at the same time, somebody failed. That's our job, so our people don't have to do that. And we have opportunities and we have things at our disposal to make sure that those don't happen like that. And so I get upset about that. Like, that's the person that I give them my receipt and $100 on the way out the door, because I don't like that. I got upset with my grandmother. My grandfather passed right before we started this business, and I said that everything I did in this business was going to be about him. Hold on, this is my financial planner. Hold on, let me text her and tell him I'm on Zoom. Sorry, guys, hold on. Okay, sorry about that, guys. She's coming to this meeting too, so I was getting that together. Okay, Jody. I lost my train of thought really quick. What were we just talking about?
I'm 54 years old. Do you expect me to remember word for word? We're talking about you'd give $100.
Oh yes, yeah, no. So we're talking about my grandmother. My grandmother was my grandfather passed away right before I started this business, and I said everything that I do for you, everything that go forward is for you, Papa. And I didn't know, because so when he passed, my grandmother no longer got his Social Security check, right? And so she was literally out being a crossing guard. Again, no disrespect to that. I had no knowledge. She had pawned a lot of her jewelry to make ends meet, and was going through all of that. And she never told me. My cousin told me. I could not get to my grandmother's house fast. I was like, Nana, what's going on? I said, first of all, you're not going to be walking around. We love the kids, but we're not going to be walking them back and forth across the street. Not doing that. We're going to fix that problem immediately. What are the bills in this place? Okay, boom. Once you gave me that number, call Katera immediately. You set up an auto draft every month for Nana's this number. Boom, we fixed that. Okay, now let's go get all this jewelry out of the pawn shop. We go to the pawn shop, I buy everything out, and I tell the people, don't you ever allow her to come in here and pawn another thing ever. If she does, you and I have a problem. If she comes here, you call this number. So that situation was fixed. Right. So as adults, that's what our charge has to be, is to be able to take care of those that can't take care of themselves, those that we are responsible for. And I'm a little dude, but my shoulders are broad, right? I don't mind that challenge. Like, I'll take that. Give me that. I want to wear that burden. I don't want my family to have to wear that. I'll do it. And so I want everyone on this line to take that same charge. It's an old saying, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, right? So because we have the opportunity. Chris Trujillo started 4 years after Charles Lee and just became the number one income earner in the company. She lives in Mexico.
That was amazing.
No excuses. No excuses. So when we have that desire, when we have that charge, when we have that understanding of what we must do, failing is not an option. And so if we know that failing is an option, we should never be afraid of success. We have to get that's a mentality that we have to shed, right? Like the lizard and the snake shedding the skin. We have to shed that, because we have to evolve and come further down the line. And so when I say that it's doable, look around. Amy and Justin Cabrera used to be homeless. We have a ton of people, and it doesn't have to always be a hardship, but we have a ton of people that can show you what can be done because they've come from those type of situations. So actually, again, I want to empower you to understand that it seems like it's stressful and it's a lot of pressure, but you're the last line of defense. It has to happen by you, period. And that's okay. You just make it happen. That's all. And I think that once we feel that way, that becomes the mission. And so by default, whatever the company or the product is becomes secondary. My mission is that I have to establish financial freedom for me and those that I care about. Might do it in evolution, might go sell lemonade, might make gummy bears. I don't know, but it has to happen with me. So whatever the options are, I'm open to it. And I think that, when we operate in that mindset, everything becomes a little easier. You don't worry about the no's as much. You don't worry about being banned from the job boards because when there's a will, there's a way. I remember a couple years ago when the job boards were really popular, I was talking to Sarah. She's like, all right, fam, I got to call you back. I'm leaving. I was like, where are you? She's like, the reception's back. She's like, I'm at a park. It was like 9 o'clock at night. Like, what are you doing at the park? She's like, I had to come over here so I get a different IP address so I could post. 9 o'clock at night. She's riding around posting in different locations on the street, right? Because no was not an option. No one's going to take care of Rhea other than her, right? You know our story. Corporate America just told her scram, beat it. Wouldn't give her time off for her daughter with an immune disease. So she had to figure it out. What if she said, no, I'm not going to figure it out? What happens to Rhea? Right. So I think we all have that story or that person somewhere that we can say, you know what, it's worth all of the pains, it's worth all of the no's, it's worth being called whatever it's worth being called. It's the outcome that matters. That's all that matters.
So I don't want to keep you much longer. I want to say one more thing, and then I want Jen to mention about Cassidy. But Alicia said her first prospect flyer got 35 people to respond, 13 got on a call, and one's supposed to sign up on December 15th. It hyped her up at first, and now she feels discouraged. I think that's where the wiring is different. If I see that people aren't signing up, I'm working twice as hard to get more people to call because I want those people to sign up. And it's a roller coaster. It's going to be where you might have 20 on a call, which I've had before, and nobody signs up. And then I have 4 on a call and 4 sign up. There's no rhyme or reason.
100%.
You have to keep going if this is what you
have
want.
to.
So
you have to. I remember when I would do, and at this point, I was in my first company. I was up to about 70 grand a month in that company. I still would do in-person presentations or in-person meetings, and no one would show. No one would show. I'm making 70 grand a month. I've got basically the gospel to share with everyone, and nobody's there. You know what I would do? Close the door, lock it, and start watching personal development videos. You have to put the time in, family. It doesn't happen overnight. They always say you see the shine, but you don't see the grind. You don't see that, when, a lot of us started and we didn't have anything, didn't have an idea. We were just excited about the future because now we had a real opportunity that we could do something with. You don't see when I, left the first company because they owed me 70 grand. And then I went to travel and then left that owner because I didn't like the way that he was doing things. And I had to walk away from $100,000 a month and start over. Like, you don't see all those things, but you're always where you're supposed to be with that mentality. And so you just do that and you just keep building it and you keep building it. And one partner turns into 3, 3 turns back into 2, 2 turns into 6, 6 turns into 12, 12 turns into 10. It's always going to be the yo-yo. It's always going to be the yo-yo. It's just about if you believe that the outcome is good enough or not. One of the very first conventions we did at Evolution, I had the Michael Jackson video on the screen behind me where, all the faces morph into different faces and, all that kind of stuff. And I asked all the family out there, I said, what is this? They said, it's the Michael Jackson video. I said, no, this is your network marketing business because the faces are going to change and you just have to be okay with that. People are going to come from seasons and reasons, but it's up to you to keep your vision and to continue to keep going. And when you want something bad enough, I don't believe that there's anything that we won't go through to get there.
All right. Now, Jen, Jen likes to talk, so don't talk too long, but can you unmute and talk about Cassidy? What you just said?
Cassidy, I'm on TikTok and I was scrolling one day and Cassidy tells TikTok jokes. This girl said she was scared of rejection. She's on telling not just TikTok jokes, but dad jokes. Okay. The corniest jokes you'll ever hear in your life. Dad jokes. Also, her first booking was an Evo Plus, and she made over $1,000 on her very first booking. So that's was awesome. Yes, to me. And another thing with rejection, Cassidy, if somebody's not, I think, what was his name? Daniel? He was at convention.
Oh,
Oh, Daniel G. Daniel
Yes.
G.
He made the
Yes.
comment, he made a comment. He said, if something to the realm of, if they're not in your business, they're already saying no or something. So you can't take no for an answer. Or how did he put it? You can't take no as a rejection because they're not already doing it. Right?
That's very true.
Am I
It's a
saying
good
that right?
mindset. Very
Yeah.
true. Yep. Yep. Very
Yeah.
true.
So if you're scared of getting rejected or whatever, they're not doing it. So what's going to happen? Nothing.
Nothing. And that's the thing, guys. What are we afraid of the no for? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. I mean, it really doesn't. If a person says no, okay, that's fine. It was already no if you don't ask. That's the way I look at it, right? So why are we afraid of that? Why are we afraid of that? Especially, again, when we're big enough to go out and I mean that's huge. You're doing TikTok videos and the world is interacting. Like I'm just never afraid of anyone to say no. Like I'm not wired that way because I know that again, what I have to go after or what I want to go after, that's all a part of the process. It really is. Everybody's not going to say yes, and that's okay.
and the way I feel is I market to the cold market. So if they say no to me, I don't care. I don't know them.
I don't even know them. Right.
Yeah.
Not going to come across, not going to see them at
Nope.
family dinner. Right.
Yeah.
There's no shame in my game.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, all right. Well, we have kept you a long time. So thank you for this. I truly appreciate it. I hope it has helped some people. I really want to see our team grow. Like I said, if you don't want a team build, that's fine. But if you do, you are standing in your own way. So you've got to get out of your own way. So,
100%. 100%. And again, Jody, in recap, again, let's start leading some conversation with Evo Plus. If you feel that, again, you guys already do the team calls, the team presentation, that's fine. If you want a broader stroke, you guys can still, with your prospects, you can say, hey, listen, we're having an amazing corporate presentation today. I'd love to follow up with you after because the corporate presentation is for corporate. So they do a couple things that we don't do on our organization because our team is super amazing. We do even better than they do. But let's get on that for your first exposure, and then we'll talk offline after that. Right? All of those things, it's just language and posture. All of those things you can give because I'm telling you, I believe, in my opinion, there's something good when a person gets on, there's a couple hundred people, on a presentation. It may not work for certain personalities, but some, I know for me, it works for, because if I get on one and it's 6 people on, I was like, oh, this isn't a big deal. It's not big enough for me. Right. It's just how we're wired. Everybody's wired differently. So don't be afraid to, dibble and dabble, because again, it's really just personality type. So, try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that, and start to see where you get your traction from. Right. And again, you guys know that you're in this deal. You have the ability to make life-changing income in this deal. Jody's doing it. You have it with a tool that's very, very simple. So again, don't be afraid of that. And like Jody said, reach out for help. Your leaders, your mentors, even myself at the top of the, at the top of the company is in the corporate position. I don't know what you guys need help with if you don't ask. Like, I don't know. And Jody, I'm telling you guys, Jody is the biggest activist in this company outside of Sarah Rogers. Sarah Rogers multiple times a day say, okay, founder, can we do this? Or I have an agent that needs this. Jody does the same thing. She emails in the thread with me, Ron, and Reggie about brainstorming ideas. What can we do to keep getting better? So you guys have a person that's on this line right now that has both of my ears. I listen when she speaks. So don't be afraid to use that tool. So there's nothing that you guys can say to Jody that won't get escalated. So whatever you need or whatever you have an issue with, let's break that barrier. Let's get those chains off of us, because the average person is doing well in Evolution Travels. You don't have to be exceptional at anything. You can just listen and be coachable. And, again, you find the things that work for your personality and you take them and run with them. But we know that the value is here, family. I think that's the biggest deal. That's the biggest part that we're trying to convey, is take advantage of what we have because we know that it works.
All right. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you in Texas at your mobile home park.
Yes.
Is that 2026 convention?
It's in Kerrville. Do you know where that is?
No, I have no clue.
No? Okay. Yeah, it's a small little place.
I've never been to Texas.
Really?
I was supposed to go to Austin for my 50th with about 10 friends, and COVID decided to show up during my 50th. So we hung out in my backyard 6 feet apart.
Hey, at least you were following the protocol. So you never even cruised out of Galveston or anything?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Never been to Texas.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, well, thank you. And hopefully this is given the fire that some people need, and always love your words of wisdom. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, family. I appreciate it. It was a great time. Let's stay plugged in and let's continue to grow. The opportunity is here for us all.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.